Welcome, friends of the Greasy Shop Rag. Today we're going to take a look at an Echo PB250LN handheld blower. Customer complaint is that they tried to fix a broken starter and they were unsuccessful. So we have a bunch of starter parts in a bag. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, this is just a stupid starter repair. I want to see a 592 XP chainsaw or an MS660. If you're going to be a small engine mechanic, this is the meat and potatoes right here. You can see a lot of starter repairs. So instead of shying away from them or hating them, just get used to the idea of having to fix a lot of them. So we have a spring that's all removed from the housing and a broken starter pulley. We're going to have to fix this. Now, I could have wound that spring back in there, but I elected to order a new spring. It's just that much easier. But check out this starter pulley. It must be like universal for a couple different models because there's a left and a right entrance on that pulley where the rope can go into, depending on which way this thing is going to wind up. But before you take this apart, make sure you look at which hole that string is in, because you're going to put it back in the same one so that the rope will wind the right way around that pulley. And we'll look at that again here later in the video. So we cut ourselves a new piece of rope, and we're taking the old rope out of the handle now. Just kind of pry it out of there with a pick and cut the end of the knot off of there. Pulling the rope out of the pulley. Actually, the rope was in pretty good shape, but get a new one. Here I'm going to try something, and it's going to be a major fail. Yeah, I couldn't hold the end of that rope with my elbow, so we won't try that one again. But I like to burn the end of the rope and then pull it through a rag. Then I have a nice clean end on the rope and not a whole big wad of melted rope that won't pass through a hole in the pulley. Now I'm just cleaning a little bit of schmutz out of the starter cup itself. And we'll pass the rope through it. What do we have here? Now, we got a brand new spring and a starter cup. What do we got in this one here? Can't even tell. Can't find my razor blade. This is the starter pulley. And I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because I don't have the spring in that cup yet. Here's the spring. Now it's pre-wound, and there's a piece of wire that wraps around that spring that's holding its shape. So you get that rope out of the way. We're going to drop this spring into the cup. Now, this is the big moment here of the repair. Because if you don't do this right, you're going to be winding that spring up in there. But you just get the hook of the end of the recoil spring lined up with the slot in the cup, and then you push it down evenly. While you're doing that, that piece of wire that's holding it in place is just going to pop up out of place. So we've pushed the spring down. The wire's popped up over the edge, the lip that the spring is bound in there by. And where is it? I'm being really careful because the spring's unwinding right now. And once it's unwound right there, that's it. I mean, you don't get a second chance. So there we go. It unwound. The hook landed where it was supposed to be. and that piece of wire came out. You can see on the bottom there where the hook is latched in. So success. That was probably the worst part of this job. Now we can go back and thread our rope through here. And then we were talking about that R and that L that's on the pulley. Well, I only remembered about the R and the L after I cut the rope out of there and was doing video editing here. I didn't remember it when I was doing the repair. And you don't really need to. I mean, just look at the way the pulley lays in the cup and then wind it the proper way. So we're going to put it on the R side because that faces the exit hole that the rope goes through the cup. You just follow the path of the rope as it goes through the hole in the cup. So we're going to put a single overhand knot on here, and we're going to kind of tuck the knot into the slot in the pulley and then pull it tight. Stupid simple, but you just got to kind of get some methods and patterns down while you're doing these starter repairs. Now I'm winding the rope around the pulley, and that pulley has got a notch that's got to line up with the spring. And this is not hard, but it doesn't always line up. So sometimes this part of the job takes a little extra effort. We dropped it in there, but did you see what I did? Let's back up here and take a look at that. I left a loop right there in the rope. You have to resist the temptation to just pull on the end of the rope till that loop is gone and you know the rope comes out the pulley and goes directly out the hole in the cup. The reason I say that is we have to tension that spring yet. I get the rope through the hole in the cup and through the handle, and we're going to put like a double knot on this one here. Actually, I did a figure 8. So now I can grab that loop. You saw I almost pulled that all the way through. Just because it's the natural thing you want to do is pull on that rope. But you can grab the loop and then there's a notch in the pulley and you put the rope in the notch in the pulley and then wind up the spring.
So this is the electric push mower too. I did their lawnmower. Lent it to the neighbor. Hasn't worked the same since.
You know, we see that on the work orders all the time. Customer lent it to a neighbor and now it doesn't work right. So we have tensioned the spring by pre-winding the pulley, and then I pulled the rope all the way out, and I made sure that when the rope was fully extended, the spring still had more room that the pulley could turn, and it wasn't binding the spring. You know, if you put so many wraps on this spring, you could pull the rope halfway out and the spring would be bound tight. And all that's going to do is break the spring. So there we've got it all the way out. All the way out. Right. Come on now. Got it all the way out and I can still turn it past that point. Meaning the rope isn't binding the spring. I mean, that's the long version of how to repair a starter on an Echo, but like I said before, you're going to do a lot of them, and not just Echoes. So we're going to get this starter bolted back on here, and then we're going to give it a couple of test pulls and see if it works. And if it does, then that's all I'm going to have for you on the Echo PB250LN handheld blower that needed a starter repair. Thanks for watching. Later.